back to the Scots Sports Show. I am now joined by head coach Tim Flynn and wrestler Dakota Geer of the wrestling team. Thank you guys both for joining me.
Thanks for having us here.
So let's start right away with last week. Before we get to this week, there's a lot of excitement for this week, but let's go over last week because that was an important match against Lock Haven. We got the victory, but how do you feel it went, Coach?
I thought it went well. We won 7 matches. We had, we lost 3, but I think those, were by a total of like 4 points. So we were in the match. We could have very easily won all 10. So, the team had a little, we were a little sick. So, and we got through it, and we got a win. So it was a good night.
And Dakota, you had quite the match there. I believe it was 19-0 tech fall in that one. How did you feel during that match?
I was feeling pretty good that match. I was actually trying to fix some things too on my top game, so it went well for that. I was actually hoping to wrestle the other kid that they had on that team. He was actually the same kid I wrestled my junior year in the state finals in high school, so I didn't get to wrestle him, though. They said he had pneumonia, I guess.
They were scared of that matchup. But because you got the victory in that one, you clinched the EWL for, and there's 23 straight EWL victories. I know you've only been a part of a couple, but Coach, what does that number mean to you?
It shows that it's important to us, certainly, and we want to win dual meets. I think that's always important when your school is wrestling another school. But I guess it just means that we've had some pretty good kids the last couple of years.
And the growth this team has, you started out with a very, very tough schedule. How do you feel that tough schedule and that tough training really has helped you to this point?
I definitely like having that tough schedule right from the get-go. I think having those tough kids and getting in those tough matches right out of the gate definitely prepares you for what's to come in the rest of the season. But getting those matches at the beginning, I mean, if you're getting the tough competition already, you know what to expect later on in the year.
And with this being your freshman year coming in here, how has this team and really Edinboro wrestling and Edinboro community as a whole really embraced you?
I love it up here. I love the community up here. I love the people we get in during the matches. The team, they definitely help me out. I get pushed more in the practice room, and they help push you whenever you're feeling a little down and whatnot. So it definitely helps out a lot having them around.
That's fantastic. And to constantly, I want to know, like, how do you find these guys all the time and get them to come? Like, because especially this is a smaller school. In the recruiting process, how do you get kids to hey, come to Edinboro? This is a smaller school, but we're still a great school to come.
Well, I think you say it just like you just did. We like to offer an opportunity for someone like Dakota to compete for a national championship, but still have a smaller school, a smaller setting, smaller class sizes, and for him it's close to home. So it's just a win-win for him, and so you just have to find the right people.
And this week we have quite the matchup this week. Oklahoma State, currently ranked number 1 in the country. They come into Macomb Fieldhouse. We have the home crowd behind us. What is that match going to be like? I'll start with you, Coach.
Oh, I hope it's crazy. I hope there's 3,500 people trying to ram into Macomb Fieldhouse. It's a neat thing whenever you can compete against the number 1 ranked team in any sport. They have such a good team. It's also a nice benchmark for us. We're coming into our postseason. And guys like Dakota get to wrestle a top 8 ranked guy, and so you have an opportunity to see where you stand and hopefully knock him off and make a name for yourself.
And the guy you are wrestling, Nolan Boyd, Coach mentioned he is a top ranked wrestler. What have you seen from him and that maybe gives you confidence or that you can use to kind of attack?
I've watched his wrestling, see what he does, but I feel like if I just go out there and go after him, just not be timid about it. I know I don't have anything to lose against him. Just go out there and give him what I have. I feel like I can definitely compete with him. I just have to do what I can do.
It's a fantastic attitude. Definitely, please come out and see this team. If you haven't seen this team wrestle yet, what are you doing? Come out, see this team. It's going to be a fantastic match. Also, along with this weekend, we have the Oklahoma State match, but also for a lot of the other wrestlers on the team. It's a chance for maybe Edinboro to come out and see them wrestle as well. The Edinboro Open is this weekend on Saturday. With that event, what do you take away from that event, and what is it like hosting a big open tournament like that?
Well, it always brings light to your program whenever you get a bunch of people into town, onto your campus. But, I guess more importantly, there's two things. One, it offers our kids that we don't always get to see, compete, whether it's a red shirt or a second or third teamer. So we get to watch them compete. And it's also a big, pretty big fundraiser for our program. So, it's a great event all around, and there'll be a lot of people over there, at the Dome on Saturday.
Yeah, so definitely get your fix on Edinboro wrestling this week. Thank you guys so much for coming on the Scots Sports Show.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
And the Scots Sports Show rolls along right after this. Don't go anywhere.
My experience at Perico has been so great. I feel like it's really my time for school now. I tried going back to school when I first graduated from high school. I just wasn't ready.
It's closer to home. It's very much more affordable than the other colleges in the city. When I finished my degree here at Perico, it would provide me with higher pay. I can actually grow more in my company than I would if I wasn't going to school.
Perico College, affordable, career-ready education.
Welcome back to the Scots Sports Show. We are now talking women's basketball as we're joined by head coach Dan Swank and Jontay Walton. Thank you both for joining me.
It's great to be here.
So this past week, there were a couple games, and we can go all the way to Saturday. Not the record you would have liked, but, seeing the growth on this team, what have you seen in this stretch?
Well, I think one of the things is that we had a great development when we won our 16 in a row. We just really, I think, developed as a team and gained a lot of confidence throughout the team, and I think they believed in each other. And I think now we just have to fine-tune that and get that ready as we move towards the second part of the season and into the playoffs.
And same question to you.
I think it's all a learning lesson for us. Like Coach Swank said, we have instilled some confidence in each other with being a team and with having so many wins. But I think us losing is all a learning lesson. We come back, practice and keep preparing for the next game, because every game is a big game for us.
And one of the big games, look, this is a hard division that you guys play in. It's the PSAC, one of the best divisions in Division II. So it doesn't matter where Pitt Johnstown is on the standings. It's still going to be a tough matchup. What have you seen from that team preparing for your matchup this Saturday?
Well, they're very good. From top to bottom, you have to play every night, and you can't take a night off, or you can't have people be sick for a game, and we had that in the game. And so, every time we go out, we've got to really play. And with UPJ, they have a lot of great talent. They have great size. They shoot the three a lot. They want to get up and down the court. I would say probably their weakness might be defense, but they've added a player since December, and they're right there knocking on the door with people. And they just lost to Clarion by 4 at Clarion. So, it's just every night in the conference you have to bring a game. You got to be ready to play.
And I know it's an athlete mindset to always have that it's time to play mindset. But for you personally, going into the games, you are a very defensive-minded player. You seem to love doing the down and the dirty, and that's fantastic. What is it about the defensive side of the ball that you love so much?
Well, I think defense wins games. Mm-hmm. Defense wins championships. In the PSAC, anyone can get beat at any moment. So I think we can control the controllables, which is playing defense and rebounding and having that heart and coming into the game and hustling. So I think we can control that. So I think that definitely is a key to our game.
And you're not just a defensive player. I don't want to put you in a box like that. But also on the offensive side, especially that last matchup against Cal, you seem to like scoring against them. In the first matchup, you had 23, I believe, and then last matchup you scored a lot as well. When your number is called to take over the game, like say another shooter's not having a great night, do you guys say something to each other like, hey, it's your turn to take over, or do you just have that instinctually kind of, it's time?
Well, I think Coach Swank has instilled the confidence in me and my teammates. If everyone, it could be anyone's night. Anyone can pick up the slack. If Katie's not on, or if Michelle's not on, Michaela's not on, anyone coming off the bench. We all have to be ready to play hard, no matter what. Even if we're a starter or not, 6 men coming off the bench, we all contribute to this team in some way. So that's what I think. I come in with that mentality each and every game, that I have to come contribute at least something, defense, points, anything.
And Coach, when you have a bench that is as deep as yours happens to be this year, does it make it any easier on you as a coach and to go through the season?
Well, absolutely. It creates a lot of positive things for us. You know, we have several people on our bench that would start on other teams. And Jontay could easily start on our team. And I've talked to her about it and said, what I really like is she brings energy and uplift. And so I like bringing her off the bench. And we've talked about it and discussed it at length. And I really like it. And right now she kind of likes that role, I think, of seeing what's happening in the game and then coming out and doing her thing and saying what she needs to do. Does she need to get to the basket? Does she need to shoot a three? Does she need to, play defense on a certain player? So hopefully all of our bench people are doing that. It's probably the deepest bench I've ever had since I've been here. And so it just at times gets a little confusing as far as rotation and making some adjustments, but for the most part it's worked out really well, and it's just this group of players is a fun group to coach, and they want to win and they want to work hard, and I've never had to say that I question their work ethic because they bring it every night.
There was a bit of a break this week. You don't have a Wednesday game, which is kind of nice to kind of recoup from the last couple weeks and really move forward. What do you do in those weeks that you have a long break between games that you get to kind of recuperate?
Well, what we're doing this week is we took Sunday, Monday off, and so they have 2 days off, and then we'll ease back into it Tuesday, Wednesday, and we'll start really preparing Thursday, Friday as far as game strategy. But it allows us to do some things, and if we want to put something in new, it's a good time to do that. But we can also, we take a little bit of a rest because we want to make sure everybody's healthy, and we're, if anybody's banged up a little bit. I know, for example, Maggie Moore, she's not going to practice tonight. She's got a little bit of knee, and so she's going to rest a little bit and just take it easy and get ready for the next day and get ready for this weekend. So it allows us to do some of those things and at the same time do some things that we can work on as far as some of our weaknesses.
And Jontay, how do you approach a longer week before in between games?
Yeah, I think like Coach Swank said, we take 2 days off, Sunday and Monday, just to not only rest physically but mentally as well, to get prepared for next week's game. And then we come to practice, work hard, work on things like defense, just a little thing, fundamentals, skills, and then we focus on our game plan for the next game.
Next week, there's also another great event, a couple of great events next week. The first one, Hoops for Harley, that the women's basketball team has done. It's going to be Wednesday's game against Seton Hill.
Exactly.
Tell us a little bit about that event.
Well, we had Hoops for Harley last year, and we're very close with the family. The family follows us. They're at almost all the games, if not all the games. And Harley was a student here at Edinboro, and she was somebody that was, she played basketball in high school, and she was somebody that was very vibrant and has passed away. And we try to raise money for leukemia and benefit that organization. Last year we had a tremendous turnout and just raised quite a bit of money for that what else?
And so that's Hoops for Harley. That's where you
Right.
want everyone in the crowd to wear orange. Am I right?
Exactly.
So
yeah.
wear your orange next Wednesday as they take on Seton Hill, and then also that weekend. There's another great event. That's the Make-A-Wish Day. Edinboro, the third team in Division II in donations
Right.
raised. Jontay, as a student athlete here, how important is it to give back?
It's really important. I mean, as a student athlete and at Edinboro, we strive to give back to the community. We strive, this Make-A-Wish Foundation and other events on campus, to give back to the community and know that Edinboro is there for the community. So I think it's very important to us, not only as women's basketball, but for the whole campus.
And that Make-A-Wish event, every year it's such a fantastic event. The special presentation will happen actually at your halftime, so you guys probably will be a little preoccupied at the time, but you know what, you have been a part of this event every single year. What is so special about Make-A-Wish Night?
Well, I think what you do is that you have somebody get their dream, and to see somebody, a young person, receive their dream and be surprised about it and not realize what's going to happen. And I think, Bruce Baumgartner, our athletic director, has been very instrumental in this, and he's really been a driving force in getting this set up through the years. And, one year we led the nation in funds raised, and it's just a great organization. It's a great thing for, I think, our athletes on campus as well as our student body, and it's something that I know this person will probably treasure forever.
All right, well, thank you guys both so much for coming on the Scott Sports Show.
Thank you.
Okay, it's good to be here.
The Scott Sports Show rolls along right after this. Don't go anywhere.
We dig deep.
We overcome obstacles.
We come together.
We prepare.
We hit the ground running.
And we achieve our goals.
We train hard.
And we compete even harder.
We reach new heights.
We win.
And at Edinboro University, we create champions on and off the field.
Welcome back to the Scott Sports Show. Let's now switch gears and talk wheelchair basketball as we are joined by head coach Jim Glatch and Chayse Wolf. Thank you both for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
So before we get into this weekend, let's talk about the journey that Chayse, you have had over the last couple. It's been quite the experience for you. Tell us a little bit about it.
It has, for sure. It's been incredibly humbling. I mean, for this being my second year playing wheelchair basketball and to have this opportunity to go to a different country and compete against some of the best in the world, it's been incredible. So, to say the least.
Chayse was selected for the under-23 United States national team. Now, what advice did you get? Because you've had Trayvon Jennifer, who's a Paralympic gold medalist, who has come in and helped the team. What advice did he give you before you went on this journey?
He told me not to get in my head, just to play my game and remember why I'm there, and just to enjoy it. And that's what I did. So it was awesome.
Fantastic. It's been a crazy couple of weeks, months for you.
Yeah,
going
sure.
back. Coach, the team this year, we had a chance to see them a little earlier in the year on 88.9 WFSC in Edinboro and ETV. What have we seen since the Borough shootout?
Well, I think with every team you're going to have some growth, or you hope there's some growth. So when we finished the Borough shootout, we went back to work, fixed a few flaws. We've adjusted our lineup a little bit. Now injuries have played a part of that, and I think what we're seeing now is a team that enjoys playing together. I think early in the season they liked each other as people, but they hadn't figured out how to play together, and so we're starting to see a little more and more of that. Getting Chayse back into practice this week has helped some of that, but our leaders have really been vocal about we want to have consistent practices, and that's been encouraging because now it's not just me and Trey saying it. it's some of the leaders on the team.
And Coach, you mentioned the injuries. We talked a little bit before coming in here about the injuries. And what do you have to do coaching-wise to make it a little creative when you have injuries piling up?
Well, the funny part about it was before we went to Kansas, I looked at Trey and I said, we're going to try a different lineup. And I don't know if it was luck or intuition. So we put together Chayse with Alex and Ayuba, Kevin and Will. And Trey came up to me and goes, I don't know if I'm a big fan of this lineup. Where are we going to get the outside shooting? Well, Yuba stepped it up that weekend, and this one here had a pretty nice weekend, along with Kevin's inside presence and Alex's inside presence. So we already had to learn what it was like to live without Mike Adams. When you lose an All-American. Now, fortunately for us, Mike's back. And so I don't have to be, hopefully, quite as creative. We're waiting to hear on a couple other players who are on the injury list, but we're hopeful they'll be back for this weekend. And
this weekend, there's another big tournament that we get to hold here against teams that you will see again. Chayse, you'll see one of them again, the under-23 team for the Canadian team. So kind of a little scouting trip for you there.
Yeah. We're definitely fortunate to be able to kind of see what they have and get to watch some game film on them after and kind of see what threats they have and what we're going to have to work on when we get back with USA.
There'll be a good challenge. There'll be a good push for our guys. They've got two guys that are pretty big, pretty quick. So Chayse will get the match up on the one right away, and we'll probably put Kevin on the other. And if they do their job, we should do okay with that game. But we get a rematch with Wisconsin Whitewater, who we saw in Kansas, and Missouri, and we saw both those teams, and both those teams took us down the Whitewater game. You're playing a three-time defending national champ. I was happy with how the guys played. It was the fourth game of the weekend. Again, no Mikey Adams to open some things up, and you can see a little fatigue. The Missouri game was our fifth game of the weekend, and we only lost by 5. And again, no Mike Adams. So I think, when you bring Mike back into the fold, that's 14, 15 points a game. He's a very solid defender and one of the team leaders. So we're pretty excited. And it'll be our first time to see Illinois this year, and they're a very good team. So.
Yeah, that Missouri team, you actually guys played back-to-back games. One at 9:45, one at 1, and that's both Saturday games.
Those are both Saturday games. It's, Missouri, I think Missouri is one of those teams that you can't sleep on. Obviously, we lost to them by 5, but they beat Texas Arlington, who was number 1 at that point in time. They beat an undefeated Texas Arlington team out in Kansas, and I think everybody was sort of surprised with that. Then we got to play them, and I think we surprised them a little bit with how good we really are. So it'll be a fun weekend. It's going to be, I think right now at the college level, most of the teams are fairly close. They're within 10 points of each other. So.
Yeah, this is, and a lot of these teams, as I mentioned, are the teams you're going to be seeing in the national championship when it comes to that point in the year. So how important at this point of the year is it to gauge where you are with those other teams?
A lot of coaches and I talk about that through the course of the season, and I think fans look at and players look at wins and losses. And as a coach, one of the things I look at is how my team is progressing. We showed that last year in the national tournament we hosted when we played Texas, and it was a 5-point game most of the game, and they had blown us out by 40. And what I think you look at is where do you need to work on? And how do we develop the team to be prepared for the next time? Because you don't know who you're going to see until the first week of March. Mm-hmm. So, it's almost like a scouting report. He talked about it with the U23 team, but that's really what it is. You're scouting. We have an automatic bid. That's the advantage. That's where the wins and losses don't matter as much. But the competitive side of us says we want to win all these games. So.
And Chayse, when you see that these are the teams that you will see again and have seen before, what do you do to prepare for these teams and to change up if you have to change up anything?
Well, and another thing about being on the U23 team, I get to practice with a lot of these players that we're playing, so I know their weaknesses, I know their strengths. So definitely getting to bring that back to practice and scouting for when we play these teams at Edinboro definitely helps a lot. And then the biggest thing, I mean, we try to worry about ourselves more than the other teams we're playing. We got to just focus on getting better and progressing with our defense and the way we move the ball on offense and everything. So.
All right, and in a couple weeks, there's also at the men's and women's contest, there's the Make-A-Wish event in a couple weeks that every Edinboro student athlete is involved with. How important is it, and I'll go to you first, Chayse, as a student athlete, not only on this campus, but as a student athlete in general, to give back?
It's extremely important. I mean, I feel like that's the reason I was hurt, was to help people and inspire people, and to be able to give back in this situation is incredible.
And Coach, you've been to a couple of great events.
Yeah, you know, the thing that is truly amazing is the Edinboro family, you know, and I know there was a former president that used that term, but when you look at what our athletic program has done and how the student athletes have come together, you know, we're the top in the country with this. You know, and it's because everybody cares. It's an incredible night. It's a special night. I was at the event 2 years ago. Last year, I think we were out of town competing, but 2 years ago, I got to witness just not only the event, but the face of the young man that won from Warren, and we got to spend some time together, and he was just on cloud nine. So the things that Edinboro University does and the athletic program specifically is just incredible when it comes to Make-A-Wish.
Well, thank you both so much for coming on the Scots Sports Show.
Thank you for having us.
And the Scots Sports Show, it comes to a close right after this. Don't go anywhere.
There's one thing you can never have sex without.
It's not something you buy.
Or something you take.
In fact, there's only one way to get it.
It has to be given to you, freely.
It's consent.
Because sex without it isn't sex.
It's rape. Consent.
If you don't get it, you don't get it.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.